Dirtle Magic. Hello and welcome back. You can follow our post on Twitter and Facebook at DirtleMTG to stay up to date on our latest videos and other posts, and you can join a more robust discussion about casual Commander at our blog, TheDiceBag.blog. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content to help the channel and the blog grow. Another way you can support the channel, though, is through our affiliate links in the description below. If you're looking for single sealed product or gaming accessories to protect all of that glory, please consider clicking the links in the description. Now, grab some spells, it's time to dirtle. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic and the channel's first ever paper game. As this is the first game, there will be some bugs and I'm still working those out. Feel free to leave any feedback about the pacing, the narration of the game overlay, any of those critiques are welcome. There's a general warning though before we get started. The camera ended up being a little closer than I anticipated, and there are some glare issues for about half the table, specifically the bottom half, and I'll address those in the future. With that, and without any further ado, let's check out the commanders and the starting hands. Kenneth is up first, who's playing an unmodified Obuun precon deck. He keeps 2 Forests, a Mary Shepherd, Plains, Nea Panorama, Planar Outburst, and Spiring Call. Next is Ty's Reaper King deck. She keeps Angel of Condemnation, Generous Gift, Felwar Stone, D-Spark, Exotic Orchard, Gateway Plaza, and a Plains. Up next is my deck, and I'll be playing Niv-Mizzet Old Gold Casual. I keep a hand of Thief of Sanity, Ash Barrens, Canopy Vista, Island, Dax Duplicant, a Mountain, and a Vivid Marsh because I can never have enough different colors. Lastly, Eric is playing Anafenza the Foremost, and mulligans down to 6. He keeps Soul of the Harvest, Alpha Authority, Diabolic Tutor, Orzhov Basilica, a Plains, and a Swamp. I win the die roll and start the game by playing a Vivid Marsh and passing to Eric. Eric drops a Swamp and passes. Ken plays a Nea Panorama. On Ty's turn, she puts a Plains onto the table. On turn 2, I play an Island and cycle an Ash Barrens to retrieve a Forest from my deck. Eric drops an Orzhov Basilica and returns his Swamp to his hand. On Ken's turn, Ken plays a Plains and plays to sacrifice the Nea Panorama to go get a basic land out of his deck. Ty on her turn plays Exotic Orchard, which seems like a great land to have in this game. She follows this up by playing a Meeboid Changeling and ends her turn. On turn 3, I play a Farce and then cast Draconic Disciple, getting a red mana by removing a counter from the Vivid Marsh. Eric puts down a Plains and passes his turn. Ken plays a Forest, and then a Soul Ring. Ty drops an Unclaimed Territory, naming Scarecrow. She then follows that up with a Felwar Stone. My turn comes back around, and I play a Grand Colosseum, and then a Thief of Sanity. I go to combat and swing at Kenny with a Draconic Disciple for 2. Eric plays a Swamp on his turn, and then a Darksteel Ingot. Kenny plays a Forest, and then casts his commander, Obuun Moldai Ancestor. Ty plays a Terramorphic Expanse, immediately cracking it for an island. She follows that with a Signpost Scarecrow. Coming back to me, I play a Canopy Vista, and I tap for 5 colors, taking 1 damage from the Grand Colosseum, and cast my commander, Niv-Mizzet Reborn. Off the top of the deck, I reveal a Forest, Escape to the Wilds, Migratory Route, Vivid Grove, Treacherous Terrain, Progenitor Mimic, Kaervek the Merciless, Altered Ego, Poison Tip Archer, and a Plains. I'm unable to keep the lands, and can only pick from one of each of the color pairs. I decide on keeping Escape to the Wilds for red-green and Altered Ego for green-blue. The lands and remaining red-green and blue-green cards go randomly to the bottom of my deck. I then go to combat, attacking Eric for 2 with Draconic Disciple and sending the Thief of Sanity into Ty. Damage is good against both players, and I get to steal a card from the top 3 of Ty's deck and exile it face down. Eric plays a Rogue's Passage on his turn, then casts his commander, Anafenza the Foremost. It's during this point that I remember I had to discard a hand size and discard Rutha, Migratory Route, and a Mountain. Ken drops Abzan Falconer to the field on their turn and passes afterward. On her turn, Ty plays a Vivid March for her land. She then casts Angel of Condemnation, which has me getting a little worried about her setting up to abuse it with Scarecrows. For my turn, I drop a nice Magic 21 Swamp, then I cast Escape to the Wilds. I exile Limdol's Vault, Smoldering Marsh, Shadow Mage Infiltrator, Command Tower, and Terramorphic Expanse. I then play an additional land allowed by Escape, choosing the Command Tower. Going to combat, I swing Thief of Sanity at Eric, and since he can't block, he takes 2, and I get to steal another card and exile it face down. I pass afterward. Eric enchants Anafenza with Alpha Authority on his turn, which foils my plans to kill Anafenza. He passes. On Kane's turn, he casts Yavimaya Elder. He then drops a land and puts a counter on Obuun and activates the Outlast ability on Obzon Falconer. During Ty's upkeep, Ken sacrifices the Elder to go grab some lands, revealing a plains in a forest. Ty herself casts Reaper King from the command zone. She then asks if anyone has fires, and because Eric is the only one without, she attacks him with the Angel of Condemnation for 3. On my turn, I begin it by playing a Smoldering Marsh that was previously exiled with Escape to the Wilds. Then, to combat, I swing Niv and the Thief into Eric, dealing 8 damage, 6 of which is Commander. In the second main, I cast Hex from exile, destroying Ken's and Ty's creatures. Ty responds with a generous gift, destroying Niv-Mizzet, and I get a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Eric plays Stinkweed Imp on his turn, then casts Oblivion Ring, targeting my Thief of Sanity until it leaves the battlefield. Ken casts Planar Outburst with the Awaken cost. The remaining board gets wiped, and a land he controls gets 4 1/1 counters. He decides not to attack and passes the turn. Ty on her turn passes Deathreap Ritual, and she and I lament that it was a turn too late to be very useful. When my turn rolls around, I cast a Poison Tip Archer and then a Dax Duplicant, making a copy of the Poison Tip Archer. I pass after that. Eric untaps, drops a Plains, and then casts a signature card of his, Angelic Arbiter. He passes. Ken recasts Obuun on his turn, and then drops a Cryptic Cave to trigger his ability. He then passes, but soon regrets that he didn't attack anyone with his animated land. Ty recasts her Commander as well, and Reaper King again threatens the battlefield. To my turn again, and I go all in on the Poison Tip Archer plan and make another copy with Evil Twin targeting the Dax Duplicant copy of it. In order to protect my own board, I then cast Linval's Shield of Sea Gate. Eric's turn sees a new forest come into play, and then the summoning of Plague Boiler, which I really enjoy when I'm using it. He then activates it, putting 1 pleb counter on it, and we all have a good laugh about the mispronunciation.
I thought he used that from now on. A pleb counter.
That's what I thought he said.
I mean, to be fair, it is Plague Boiler and there are plebs.
Ken on his turn casts a Mirror Shepherd, plays a forest, and returns Obzon Falconer from his graveyard to his hand. Ty's turn only sees a Gateway Plaza and a Swift Pass. I play a Rupture Spire, then I cast Journey to Eternity to enchant Linval. I then cast a Bloodwire Entity, putting Escape from the Wilds on top of my deck. I pass the turn, waiting for the Plague Boiler to go off. Eric starts his turn, and immediately in the first main phase activates the Plague Boiler. Because it has 3 counters on it, it'll now destroy all non-land permanents, and I ask for any responses. Ken passes his priority, and so does Ty, so I respond with Linval's ability, sacking her to make my board indestructible. Journey to Eternity would also trigger, bringing her back and flipping over the land into Atzel, Cave of Eternity. Ken then responds with Inspiring Call, saving his creatures and drawing cards. Eric then responds with the Ready side of Ready and Willing, saving his only creature from destruction. Unfortunately for Ty, she's the only player to suffer any major loss from the boiler going off. In response, she retaliates with a quick 6-sider across the table. When everything finally dies, each of my opponents takes 6 from the 3 Poison Tip Archers and the 2 dying creatures. Unfortunately, I had been Linval thinking she would die from the boiler going off, but she actually would have survived because her original trigger was still resolving and would have protected her. Ken plays a forest for his turn, triggering Obuun, which receives a 1/1 counter. He then casts Rampaging Baloths. He passes, then laments that he should have played the land after casting Baloths. Ty's turn sees Joyra Weatherlight Captain onto the battlefield, which is always a worrisome sight to see. She passes the turn. On my turn, I cast Escape to the Wilds for a second time, exiling Incubation, Incongruity, Febrile Elder, Fracture, Yavimaya Coast, and Time Wipe. I play the Coast for my land for turn, then cast the Elder. I then cast Incongruity, exiling the Angelic Arbiter, and creating a 3/3 green Frog Lizard token under Eric's control. With the Angel's static ability out of the way, I go to attacks. I attack Kenny with Bloodwire Entity and Thief of Sanity for 6, Bloodwater having been pumped by 2 Prowess triggers, and then Eric for 4 with my 2 cloned archers. He blocks with a new token he just got against the Evil Twin clone and both die. When the token and archer clone die, each of my opponents lose 5 life and Eric takes 2 from the attack. Eric's turn sees him play Diabolic Tutor, and he goes to retrieve a card from his deck. He then plays Wrath of God, which unfortunately takes him out of the game due to the triggers of my 2 archers, which have my opponents losing 16 life each. Ken's turn sees Anis's renewal, gaining him 7 life and letting him put a forest, plains, and mountain onto the battlefield tapped. He passes. Ty's turn sees a very sad Conjurer's Closet come into play. Rolling back to me, I play Kervik the Merciless in an attempt to close out the game and punish any further attempts to wipe the board. I pass the turn. Ken plays a Plains, and I begin wondering how many lands come in the landfall deck. He then plays a Keeper of Fables followed by an Abzan Falconer. I inform Ken that he takes 8 from casting those 2 spells, and he takes the 8 damage. Ty's turn sees a Blasphemous attack take place, and she takes 9 damage from Kervik before wiping him away. Needing a restocked hand, I cast Niv-Mizzet Reborn and reveal the top 10. I reveal Torrent of Souls, Lowness, Cryptozoologist, Vivid Creek, Rakdos Charm, Death Sprout, Shivan Reef, Belborca, Nyambi Esteemed Speaker, Island, and Swamp. I decide to keep the Torrent of Souls over Rakdos Charm and put the Charm and lands on the bottom of my deck in a random order. I pass after that with nothing to play for now. Ken plays Sun Titan on his turn, returning Soul Ring from his graveyard. He then casts Elvish Rejuvenator. I respond by killing his Sun Titan with Death Sprout, or as I like to call it, Rampant Murder. Unfortunately for Ken, he didn't get anything off the Rejuvenator, and I retrieve a mountain from my deck. Ty's turn sees a Mistmail Witch come into play, and she passes with mana up. I drop a Plains on my turn, and then cast Torrent of Souls, targeting and returning Linvala. Then I attack Ty with Linvala and Niv into Ken. Ty responds with Despark, and I respond by sacrificing Linvala to give Niv Hexproof. Despark fizzles, and Ken takes lethal damage and is knocked out. In my second main, I cast Belborca and pass. Thopter Spy Network comes into play for Ty on her turn, and she passes. Belborca triggers on my upkeep and I exile Forbidden Orchard. I then activate Outsoul Cave of Eternity to bring back Kervik. I go to attacks and attack Ty with Niv-Mizzet. She responds by activating Mistmail Witch to blink Niv-Mizzet, but I respond with an Ambi and bounce him back to my hand. In my second main, I cast Lowness, taking damage from the Grand Colosseum to do so, and then cast Saval and get a clue token. I pass my turn. On Ty's turn, she casts Jousting Dummy and takes 2 damage from Kervik's ability and gets knocked out of the game. Let's review. I was playing a slightly newer version of the Niv Old Gold Casual deck that you may have seen previously on the channel, and it worked much the way I expected it to, so I have nothing really to say about it except that having Escape the Wilds be akin to a second Niv-Mizzet Reborn is pretty sweet for the deck. Eric's Anafenza deck also did what it usually does, but it couldn't seem to find the recursion to really make the deck sing. I've played against the deck before, and its liberal use of board wipes, control elements, and recursion make it a long slog, but usually a very successful deck. After the game, he said he had forgotten about the Archer clone, which probably saved us from a long drawn-out game. Ken was using an unaltered Obuun deck, and is still getting used to a lot of what it does. Even though it's a landfall-centered deck, I feel like that has too many land search abilities that don't do anything else. Escape to the Wilds allows an extra landfall, but also allows you cards to play. So I feel like not only was there not Nesting Dragon in the deck, it also got hamstrung with just go get some land cards. Ty's Reaper King deck unfortunately didn't get going with any of the board wipes, and the fear of it getting going is usually enough for us to keep killing the king. Jorah is especially good in the deck, and seeing it come down late was both a bit sad and a bit relieving. That's it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave critiques in the comments below about the video and how it can be improved. Certainly the camera should have been higher and the glare is an issue, but if you noticed anything else, please let me know. Until next time, stay safe out there.